So guys, to start off with, you want to create your own palette. So I have 4 colors from one undertone and 4 colors from pink undertone. So that is how you want to create your own palette, and I'm also including desaturated blue color just because, again, your skin doesn't have only one toned color, if that makes any sense. So guys, the first step would be to create a new layer and fill it in with the base color that you want to use. Now it can be darker, it can be lighter, it's just up to you. Now what I'm doing is I'm just choosing a darker version of the base color, and I'm just placing the color really light-handed where I think the shadows must be. Now if you are also painting front view face, then you can just go ahead and place all the shadows as I'm doing in the video. And I also will be covering side views as well later on my channel, but for now I'm just doing the front view. And also I am just placing the shadows really light-handed because I just want to avoid using blending tool as much as I could, because I just think blending tool just smoothens out everything a bit too much, and that doesn't look really realistic or natural. So you want to make sure that you're not blending everything out when you are shading a face. Now once you are done with the first layer of the shadow placement, you want to start shading the nose. Now the reason why I start with the nose is because it just guides me on how to place a color, where to place a color, which color to place on the whole face later on when I'm shading the skin. I really hope that makes sense. And also I do have a video on how to shade a nose on my channel, so I would highly recommend you guys to check that video out before you start with the whole skin shading, because I talk about the colors that I use while I'm painting the skin, and how I build up all the shadows and how I make the nose look more realistic. So I'm just gonna go over that once again. So basically what you want to do is you want to have color from 2 undertones. So one from 4 colors from 4, maybe 5 colors from orange undertone, and 4 colors from pink undertones. And so what I basically do is I just first fill in the base color and then just go ahead and do the first layer of shadowing that we did with just a slightly darker version of the base color. Then once you have that, you want to go over the shadows, but this time you want to choose the color from the different undertone, the pink undertone. So that's how I keep building all of the shadows, and I also make sure that I'm putting those in different layers, and once I'm satisfied with what I have, I just merge them all down. So I'm just gonna quickly shade the nose here, and I'm not gonna be going into detail because I already have a video on that as well, so you might want to check that out. And also one tip that I want to give you when you're shading skin is that you don't want to blend out everything that you are putting on the face. Like, you just don't want to blend out every shadow, every highlight that you put in. It just doesn't look good or realistic. We are going for that look. So I prefer blending the colors out with just a brush and not the blending tool. I kind of try to avoid using the blending tool. So I also have a video on how to blend colors without using the blending tool. So check that video out as well before you start. If you're a complete beginner, then I would highly recommend you guys to check that video out. So here I'm just building up the shadows using colors from different undertones, as you can see here. And also once I'm happy with all the shadows, all the layers of shadows I should say, then I create a new layer just above all of them, just above all of the layers of shadows. And on the new layer I just shade the nose with a pink color just to create that blush effect. And I always go over the tip of the nose and on the bridge of the nose, and under the nose as well. So that's just up to you how you want to do it. So once you're done with the nose, you want to create a new layer, and you want to pick a color, a darker color from the orange undertone color set, and then you want to go over the shadows that we initially put in and then just make them a bit more darker just to create more depth. Now as you can see, the shadows look pretty harsh, so I'm just going to be using the blending tool. But keep in mind, even if you're using the blending tool, you want to make sure you're just going over the colors really lightly with a larger brush. Now I'm choosing a slightly darker color of the skin color that we have used, and I'm just going over all the light parts of the face. Now once you're done with that, you want to create a new layer and just pick up a color from the color set with pink undertone and just go over all of the shadows that we have created here. And you want to make sure you're going over these shadows really light-handed because we don't want to make it harsh looking. If that makes sense, then yeah. So just go over the shadows like that. Now once you're happy with all the shadows and all the shading, you want to create a new layer for the light parts of the face, and for that I'm choosing a lighter color of the base color, or you might even use white color. And then I'm also doing this really light-handed. So what I'm basically doing here is I'm just going over the parts or the areas of the face where I think light should be hitting, but I am going over those areas really light-handed so that I do not have to blend it out later on. So now comes my favorite part, which is highlighting. So to start off with, you want to create a new layer again. Now make sure the layer is just above all of the layers that you have, and then you want to just go over the areas you think you should highlight, and then again just make sure you're doing that really light-handed because we are going to be dividing this highlighting part into two layers. So the first layer is going to be the base layer where we put the color really light-handed just to bring out the area just a bit more, and then the second layer would be the harsh highlighting. Now by harsh highlighting I mean that we are not going to be blending those highlights color out. I hope that makes sense. So Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. And a great tip that I want to give you guys on highlighting is when you're highlighting a face, you want to make sure you're creating little dots just near every highlight that you are putting in. So it just makes the skin look more realistic and skin-like. I really hope that makes sense. I really hope you are getting my point. And if you're not, if you have any question, you can just ask me in the comment section down below. So I'm putting the highlights on the bridge of the nose, on the tip of the nose, on the sides of the nose, and on the cupid's bow, and on the sides of the lips, and on the cheekbones, and on the forehead, and on the brow bone. And also a little bit of the highlight on the inner part of the ear, the tear duct of the eyes, I should say, and on the eyelids as well. So that is basically it, you guys. That's how you shade skin, and I really hope you guys found this video helpful. And I will be adding freckles as well at the end of the video by using some freckle brush that I downloaded, so I do have a video on that as well. You might want to check out free Procreate brushes. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please do not forget to give this video a big thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel. And also, if you do create something out of my tutorials, do not forget to tag me on Instagram, and I will link that down in the description. And I will also be providing you guys with the skin palette that I used here in the video down in the description as well. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you guys the next time.